right, guys, welcome to part 2 of my clay videos. Now remember, you can, or you want to, use something to make your clay creation on. That way it's not going to stick to the table, because it will. And again, keep that extra water and maybe some flour close to you in case your clay becomes too sticky or it's too dry. So if it's too dry, water. If it's too sticky, flour. Okay? So there are 3 things that we make when we're making something out of clay. So the first one is a sphere. And like I said, we are going to be making a flower. Okay, so I just grabbed a little bit of clay off of my big ball, and I'm gonna roll it in between my hands. Okay, so I'm making a sphere. It's kind of like a circle, but it's 3D. Okay, so I'm gonna start with that, and then I'm actually just going to push it down and make it into a slab. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over. So this is the start of my flower. Okay, this is the middle part, and I'm just gonna leave that there. And then I'm going to continue to do this, but my next spheres are going to be a little bit smaller than the first one. These are going to be the petals. You can also make them really however you want, but this is just a basic way to make a flower. So another sphere, and then I'm going to make it into a slab. So it's kind of like if you were pushing down a cookie dough. And I'm just going to lay that on top of the first one, and I'm going to push it in, okay? And if you can see, it's not really a perfect circle or sphere anymore. I kind of molded it to make it look like a petal. So I'm going to do this. I think I could probably get 6 out of here. I roll it in between my hands, and then I push it down. Okay, pushing it. Make sure you push it into the other pieces, because if you don't, then what's going to happen is when it dries, those pieces are just going to come apart. So you're kind of merging them together, like you're putting a puzzle together. Okay, and then once this is dry, we can paint it if you have paint at your home. I haven't tried using markers yet, but I bet we could make some markers work on this. Okay. Now, if you have some handy tools at home, like I have one right here, a toothpick, okay? This can help put some texture on your flower. So texture is the way something feels or the way it looks like it should feel, okay? And maybe you can, while you're watching this, think of some different textures, and if somebody's helping you, you can let them know what textures we've talked about in school. Okay, so kind of pushing it all together, and I think I can get one more. So I've done this so far. Make mine more petal-like. And I still have a lot of clay left. So the rest of the clay we're going to use for the stem, and I'm going to make a leaf for it on the stem. Okay, so kind of make sure it's all even too. You don't want it kind of like there's more over here and then there's less over here. So you want to kind of make it even and flat almost. All right. Another tool you can use if you have one at home is a plastic knife or a skewer, if you have a skewer. And those will help you kind of maybe cut some different pieces off if you want to do that. We don't really need it for this, but if you make clay again and you want to cut this in half, it's a really good tool for that. So I didn't show you what I'm doing. This is a coil, okay? So coil, we're again using our hands to rub. I'm gonna get some more flour. And we're just going back and forth, and we're kind of making it into like a long worm or a snake, okay? And we want it to be kind of thick like our finger, because if it gets too thin, again, when it dries, it's just gonna kind of break. So I'm gonna put my stem right here, okay? I'm gonna kind of flatten it, push it into those other pieces. Now this won't be able to stand up by itself because that is not a sturdy stem. So it would be a piece that maybe you would just kind of lay flat. All right, so I'm gonna take one more piece, little piece, and I'm actually just gonna mold this with my fingers. So when I think about flower leaves, I think they're like really skinny and long. I'm just gonna put one right there. I'm just gonna put one, okay? Now, I still have leftover clay. If you want, again, you can save it in a Ziploc bag, or you can just throw it away. It's not like we use expensive materials, okay? Now, if you want to create some texture on your flower, you just take, if you want a plastic knife, a skewer, a toothpick, anything. You could also use, like if you have stamps at home, you could always stamp stuff in there, and that will leave like the picture of the stamp behind, but also a texture, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of make some smaller type looking petals on the inside, okay? Just some simple lines. Oop. You can always pat it down and redo it. That one kind of got crazy. All right. Maybe that one too. All right. So I'm just kind of like dragging it across the surface. I'm not digging into it. I'm not making holes. Okay. All right. And then in the center, I'm just going to kind of poke some holes. I don't know what kind of flower this is, but I think it looks good. And then for the stem, I'm just going to kind of put some lines down it. Why not? All right, and then for my leaf, I'm gonna do a line in the middle and then some lines going diagonal. All right, okay, and that's it, guys. So I'm going to just let this dry outside. Like I said, it's a really sunny day. So it should, it should take maybe an hour if you leave it outside. Again, if you want to throw it in the oven, if it's not a nice day outside, low setting, maybe like 150 or 200 degrees. And I would start with just 10 minutes and kind of check on it. Have an adult help you, okay? Safety first. And see if it's getting hard. If not, maybe set it for 5 minutes after that, okay? All right, and then when this guy's dry, I'm gonna paint it and I'll share that with you too. All right, guys, thanks for watching.